Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Myself Monisha V, studying in Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering from the Department of Information Science and Engineering. My topic for today is cryptography. In that we have the substitution method. Introduction to substitution techniques in cryptography. Substitution techniques are a fundamental aspect of cryptography. These techniques involve replacing elements of the plain text with different elements to create ciphered text. Substitution technique can be categorized into two types, monoalphabetic and polyalphabetic. As you can see in the right side, there is a substitution cipher. Monoalphabetic substitution techniques. Monoalphabetic substitution techniques involve substitution each plain text element with a single corresponding cipher text element. The most basic example is the Caesar cipher, where each letter is shifted a fixed number of positions in the alphabet. Another example is the bash cipher, which replaces each letter with its counterpart in the reverse alphabet. As you can see on the right side, there is a mono-alphabetic substitution. As you can see, there is an open alphabet and cipher alphabet. From that, we get the keyword and the plain text and the cipher text. Polyalphabetic substitution techniques. Polyalphabetic substitution involves using multiple sets of substitution alphabets. One popular method in the Wigner cipher, where each letter is shifted based on a keyword. The playful cipher uses a 5 to 5 grid of letters to substitute pair of letters in the plain text. As you can see, the substitution techniques, the polyalphabetic cipher, where we have the plain text, that is stay home, and the cipher text, that will be shifted into 3 and shifted into 5. Advantages of substitution techniques. Substitution techniques are relatively easy to understand and implement. They can provide a basic level of security against casual attackers. Substitution techniques are suitable for educational purposes and understanding the foundations of cryptography. So the substitution techniques, the two basic building block of all the encryption techniques are substitution and transposition. A substitution technique is one in which the letter of plain text are replaced by other letter or by number or symbols. The substitution techniques have four techniques: Caesar cipher, monoalphabetic cipher, playface cipher, Hill cipher, and polyalphabetic cipher. Limitations of substitution techniques. Substitution techniques are vulnerable frequency analysis, as the frequency of letters in the plain text may be preserved in the cipher text. They are also vulnerable to pattern analysis, as certain patterns in the plain text can be revealed in the cipher text. Substitution techniques are generally considered weak against modern cryptographic attacks. Classical techniques, that is the substitution techniques, substitute a character, digit, or a symbol for each character in the plain text. Discuss the Caesar cipher, the monoalphabetic cipher, and the playface cipher, and polyalphabetic cipher. Historical significance of substitution techniques. Substitution techniques have a long history dating back to ancient times. Julius Caesar used a simple substitution cipher during the Roman Empire. Substitution techniques played a significant role in the development of modern cryptography. Otherwise, each plain text letters in a pair is replaced by the letter that lies in its own row in the column occupied by the other plain text letter. Thus, PA becomes OB. Plain text PA, PX, PERN, and the cipher text will be converted as OB, VA, FT, and CP. The playfair cipher is a great advance over simple monoalphabetic cipher. For one thing, whereas there are only 26 letters, there are 26 into 26 is equal, which is equals to 676 diagrams. So that identification of individual diagrams is more difficult. Playfair cipher cryptography. Introduction to Playfair cipher cryptography. It is the next topic in our cryptography. The Playfair cipher is a symmetric encryption technique which is used to encrypt and decrypt the plain text messages. It was invented by Sir Charles Wheatstone in 1854 and later popularized by Lord Playfair. The Playfair cipher is based on the use of a pi into 5 matrix of letters known as a key square. As you can see, as you can see on the right side, we have the example for Playfair cipher. If the alphabets are not in the same row or column, then replace them with the alphabets in the same row respectively. But at the other pair of corners of the rectangle, which has been defined by the original pair, as you can see in that diagram, keyword is Playfair and plain text is OC. So O will be converted into S and C will be converted into R. Encryption rules and same row. If the two letters of a digraph are in the same row of the key square, they are replaced by the letters to the right, wrapping around if necessary. Example, if the digraph is GE and the key square as A, B, C, D, E, F in the first row and G will be replaced by A and E by F. Your third bullet. So plain text encrypted two letters at a time. If a pair is repeated letter, insert a filler like X, example balloon, so which will consist of 2L encrypts as a BALXLOON. If both letters fall in the same row, replace each with letter to right, wrapping back to start from end. If both letters fall in the same column, replace each with the letter below it, again wrapping to top from bottom. Otherwise, each letter is been replaced by the one in its row in the column of the other letter of the pair. Encryption rules say for the same column. If the two letters of a digraph are in the same column of the key square, they are replaced by the letters below them, wrapping around if necessary. Example, if the digraph is HD and the key square as ABCDE in the first column, H will be replaced by A and D by E, and your third bullet will consist of two letters at a time. If a pair is repeated letter, insert a filler like X. If both letters fall in the same row, replace each with letter to right. If both letters fall in the same column, replace each with the letter below it. Encryption rules different rows and columns. If the two letters of a digraph are in the different row and columns of the key square, they are replaced by the letters that form a rectangle with the original letters. Example, if the digraph is PB and the key square as ABCDE in the first row and in the second row we have P will be which is being replaced by F and B by I. As you can see in the right side, the primary key on the two columns which consist of author ID and the book ID, and the student ID and the course ID. Decryption process. The decryption process involves using the inverse operations of the encryption rules. Positions of the encrypted letters in the key square are determined. The letters in each digraph are decrypted by applying the specific rules which is based on their positions. The plain text, here is my private data, that will get the key will get encrypted, and we will have the cipher text and Next, the key will get decrypted, and the plain text here is my private data. Decryption rules, same row and column. The decryption rules for the plaintext cipher are the same as the encryption rules. If the two letters of a digraph are in the same row or a column, they are being replaced by the letters to the left or above, respectively. Um, Decryption rules different rows and columns. If the two letters of a digraph are in different rows and the columns, then they are being replaced by the letter that form a rectangle with the encrypted letters, your second bullet and your third bullet. Advantages and disadvantages of the plaintext cipher. Advantages of the plaintext cipher are: plaintext cipher provides better security than simple substitution ciphers. The use of digraphs makes frequency analysis more challenging. The key square can be easily changed for different messages. Disadvantages of plaintext cipher. Plaintext cipher is vulnerable to known plain text and chosen plain text attacks. The key square can be difficult to remember and transmit securely. The encryption process can be time consuming. Plaintext cipher is not even the large number of keys in a mono alphabetic cipher provides security. In its one approach to improving security was to encrypt multiple letters. The plaintext cipher is an example which has been invented by the Charles Wheatstone in 1854, but the name after his friend Baron Playfair. Next topic is in cipher. Introduction to IL-Cipher. The IL-Cipher is a symmetric encryption algorithm. It was being developed by Lister S. Hill in 1929. The algorithm operates on blocks of plain text and transforms them into cipher text. The IL-Cipher, which is being developed by the mathematician Lister Hill in 1929, the encryption algorithm takes m successive plain text and substitute for them m cipher text letters. Each character is being assigned a numerical value. As you can see, that is in a 3 into 3 matrix. It consists of C1, C2 and C3, and the mod will be 26. Key generation. The key matrix must be invertible. The key matrix should be randomly generated for security. The size of the key matrix is typically 2 into 2 or 3 into 3. Decryption process. In the decryption process, we consist of a cipher text which has been converted into AES decryption, which initializes the vector, and then it will be converted to the plain text. The cipher text, it is been divided into blocks of size n. Each block is been represented as a column vector. The inverse of the key matrix is been multiplied with each column vector to recover the plain text. Advantages of IL-Cipher. IL-Cipher provides good security when the key matrix is large. It can encrypt and decrypt the multiple letters at once. The encryption and the decryption process are easy to understand. IL-Cipher, which has been developed by the mathematician Lester Hill in 1929, the encryption algorithm takes m successive plain text and substitute for them m cipher text value. Limitations of IL-Cipher. IL-Cipher is vulnerable to known plaintext attacks. It requires the key matrix to be invertible. The key matrix size determines the block size, which may limit its practically. IL-Cipher takes 2 or 3 or more letters combinations to the same combinations. It uses the simple linear equations. An example of a block cipher encrypting a block of the text at a time. The number alphabet it is A equals to 0, B equals to 1, and C equals to 3, that is not, which uses a ASCII code. Usage of ILCipher. ILCipher is often used as a teaching tool for learning encryption algorithms. It can be used for secure communication in scenarios where the limitations are acceptable. ILCipher can be combined with other encryption techniques for improved security. Examples of ILCipher. ILCipher can be applied to encrypt and decrypt the letters, numbers, or symbols. Example, encrypting hello with a 2 into 2 key matrix result in ZVYKI, with the inverse of the key matrix recovers hello. Conclusion. ILCipher is a historic encryption algorithm that uses matrix multiplication for encryption and decryption. While it has limitations, it offers good securely when the key matrix is very large. ILCipher's simplicity and educational value make it a valuable tool in understanding encryption techniques. Thank you.